Good morning. I offer you grace and peace from our Lord Jesus Christ, along with a warm welcome to worship at Second Presbyterian Church and a word of congratulations. You made it into the parking lot. Every Sunday, we're changing the route in a little bit, making it just keeping you on your toes. So you made it into the parking lot, and we're grateful that you're here. Second is a welcoming community of faith where Jesus Christ transforms lives, and it is our prayer that whether this is your first visit with us or whether you are a longtime member or anywhere in between, that you experience the presence of God and the joy of community as we join in worship. As a reminder, I invite you to pass the welcome books down your pew. You'll find them at one end of the pew, and I invite you to leave contact information with us, but particularly to write your names so that we might learn the names of those with whom we are seated. As an important note, as you pass the book, start from the bottom of the page and work your way up. That will help ushers as they collect the forms after the service. If you're a first-time guest, there is also a QR code, which you're welcome to use if you prefer to leave your information virtually. Each year, our congregation nominates and elects elders and deacons from among the membership of the church who will lead us in bringing the mission of Second Church to life. We invite you to nominate a fellow church member by August the 28th to be considered by the nominating committee as they begin their work. The nomination forms are located at secondchurch.org/nominate or in the literature racks as you exit either in the narthex or downstairs in the atrium. Our Men at Second group will be hosting a barbecue at Eagle Creek Sailing Club on Saturday, August the 5th from 4 to 7 p.m. And you can find information along with lots of other events at our events tab, secondchurch.org/events. The Children and Family and Youth Ministry teams invite all families to gear up for an all-in August. That's our re-entry to Sunday morning programming at 9 a.m. All children and youth will be formed in faith as they complete service projects, and parents will gather for community building and topical conversation. That starts on Sunday, August the 6th. Our young adults ministry is partnering with NeighborLink for a half day of community service August the 12th from 9 to noon, and they would love to share the joy of that ministry with the whole congregation. NeighborLink is one of our partner ministries that helps seniors and individuals with disabilities who own their own homes so that they can age in place safely and with dignity by providing home repair services. Please reach out to Reverend Gracie Payne if you are interested in participating. At this time, I would like to invite second member and Elder Rick Haggerty to join me here on the chancel. This spring, we celebrated 20 years of partnership in ministry with SAWS, that's Servants at Work, though it began 20 years ago as Second at Work. And Rick Haggerty is the founder of Servants at Work, our SAWS ministry. And I would love to just take an opportunity to engage in a brief conversation as we learn more about that ministry and a little bit of how we might get engaged with it. And so, Rick, I think I'll just begin by asking you how your work with SAWS, how your ministry has impacted your own faith journey.
Chris, building wheelchair ramps for low-income people with disabilities that are trapped in their homes is transformational. Transformational for the clients, for the volunteers, and for me. In 1969, I asked Jesus to come into my life. I've worked on several missions and even led missions within the church. But it wasn't until SAWS that I began to really see God's love working in individuals' lives at each location that we went to. It has been an amazing trip. And seeing God's love working on a daily basis reminds me a great deal of the loaves and fishes. There's always enough.
I know that there are wonderful facts and figures and stories that really tell of this ministry's impact. I wonder if you'd share a testimony, a story of the impact that a ramp has made in the life of one person.
Chris, there are almost 4,000 ramps that we've built so far, and there's a story that goes with each of them. Impact is amazing sometimes. Other times it's normal. But the story that I tell most often is about the first ramp that we built the Saturday before Thanksgiving in 2003. My late brother-in-law and I, along with fellow church member Don Lucas, his best friend, and two of his daughters, built a ramp for Julie on the southeast side of Indianapolis. As we were packing up at the end of the day, looking at this ramp that we'd built, having had no idea what we were doing, we started packing up, and Julie's mother came out and was thanking each of us individually with tears in her eyes. And of course, with tears in our eyes, we wished her a happy Thanksgiving. And she amazingly came back with, "It will be now." We have a court date on Wednesday with Child Services to decide whether or not Julie was to be removed from the house because she had no safe way to get out in case of a fire. At that point, I learned God's timing is always perfect.
Wow. I know that, indeed, amen. I know that this congregation has been with you and with this ministry from the very beginning, these 20 years. I wonder how folks who are hearing perhaps for the first time about SAWS and how we as a congregation might continue to come alongside this ministry and support what you do.
Unfortunately, the news is not great at this point. We are experiencing this year an unprecedented 68% increase in requests for ramps statewide. And while Second Presbyterian has always been a huge supporter in many ways, we are at a point where we need to find more help to build. The beginning of this season, there were 200 people in the entire state waiting for the weather to clear to get their help. We've built 150 ramps so far this year, but right now our backlog stands at over 370. We need volunteers. And by the way, for those of you that are sitting there thinking I have no skills, I'm living proof that anybody can help build a ramp. Now, there are other things that are critical to getting a ramp built that you can help with, but we need help as much as we can. And of course, we need as much funding as possible. COVID did a horrible job on lumber prices. Our average ramp in 2019 was $950. This year it's $1,500. And last but not least, we ask for your prayers so that God will continue to smile on what we do, keep our volunteers safe, and help us get to more people more quickly.
As a testament to the wide range of volunteer support that is both needed and appreciated, I took our son Samuel last year, I think it was, and Sam would attempt to hammer a nail in, and then I believe it was Chris Prada who would come behind him, pry his nail out, and put it in the right place. So all skill sets are welcomed and can be a part of this ministry.
Absolutely.
Rick will be standing here at the bottom of the chancel following the worship service. If your heart is moved to participate in this ministry in any way, please feel free to come forward and to speak to him or to reach out to the church for ways that you might get engaged in the ministry of SAWS in our congregation and in our community. And Rick, 20 years in, we give thanks for your founding of this ministry and for your continued faithful leadership of it. We're grateful to God for your ministry.
Thank you, Chris.
Let us lift our hearts as we worship God.